Okay, I'm going to open this segment up because I feel like I'm going to have to hold you back, Jay. It's you're starting fights on YouTube.
I don't want to fight. I don't mean to fight.
Are you like the Patrick Swayze of our YouTube channel? You know, you're the best cooler in the business, right?
Yeah.
I
try
nice
to be.
Until it's time not to be nice.
You
Pain
got
don't
it.
hurt.
You got it.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Just let the cat out of the bag here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Lordstown.
Oh, who's that? Who?
Yeah, Lordstown.
I was here before you. No matter what you do,
you just we're not even a minute into this, and you're already okay. So if you don't know what he's talking about, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go back and watch some of the previous videos. There's one on Lordstown. We've actually done a couple now where
just say it.
Yeah, but anyway, so there's a lawsuit hot and heavy on the front lines.
Oof,
now, Lordstown, for
time.
those of you that don't know, is an electric truck manufacturer. They're a startup out of Ohio, EV
Yep.
truck,
electric vehicle.
Their flagship truck, I believe, is called the Endurance.
That is correct.
They are in some other styles and chassis and that sort of thing.
Fleets.
And there is a lawsuit. Now, I believe, and this is, you're going to have to set me straight here because there's a little bit of this you're more familiar with than I am. Filed by Karma Automotive Group.
Correct.
Okay, against Lordstown.
That is correct.
Okay, now let's take a step back here because some of this you had to set me straight on. Karma. Okay, explain. There was originally a car by Fisker called the Karma. I actually, I slapped the mic here, did a write-up on our website about that vehicle and how forward-thinking it was.
Right.
Now, Fisker is still making automobiles. They've got the Ocean that's about to come out, but they filed for bankruptcy and sold off
so
the
Karma
line?
Automotive was created from the corporate assets of Fisker Automotive after its bankruptcy.
So they're not really the same anymore. So Karma is...
they're not. In February 2014, the Chinese part supplier Wang Zhang Group purchased the assets of Fisker Automotive. So there you go.
Now there is a Karma. They have that group does have a vehicle. Now they're based out of Irvine, California, and they're interesting looking, but they're EVs also, correct?
They're pretty awesome. I like them, man. I mean, I would say they are considered a luxury EV, and it's a very small startup company. So there you go. They got some cool models, like the Revero GT, the Revero. There's some cool stuff out there. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay. So what info can you tell us on this suit against Lordstown? What's going on?
Well, basically, what has happened? There was sort of a partnership between these two companies, and the way I understand it, the defendants knowingly agreed, and that is Lordstown agreed to facilitate a scheme, a conspiracy to defraud Karma through a pattern of interstate racketeering activity, which included the management of a RICO enterprise, the amended complaint states. Now, what we're hearing is like 10 counts ranging from computer fraud and misappropriation of trade secrets to breach of contract. It's like 28 counts, but they were stealing intellectual property according to Karma.
Allegedly, yeah. So
allegedly.
All of this
while these employees were employed with Karma, but are now employed with Lordstown.
Okay, now that makes things even more interesting.
Yes.
So the gist of the argument is really it boils down to trade secrets around the design and manufacturing of electric vehicles, right?
Well, yeah, it's pretty blatant, really. And within this article, it gets into the details where some of the information, the intellectual property that was taken, they didn't even delete some of the verbiage in there, like even the logo of Karma from the documents that they found. So
they're saying like they stole things like Karma says they brazenly stole.
Yeah.
Proprietary information on their infotainment systems. Classic corporate espionage. There's all kinds of like these, like this is movie levels.
Oh,
terms
it is.
Being thrown around.
This is high level, man. I mean, like secret agent stuff, man. And but the problem is with they took it, and now Lordstown is using it according to Karma.
Okay.
And that's the way I understood it. And so they filed this lawsuit against them. Now, granted, this is a startup company, a small startup company.
Well, they both are.
Right. And the question was Lordstown actually in the wrong in the way they got this information, or was the information coming from somewhere else and they bought it? Because there's so many fingers in the pie here with this thing, if you will, that it makes it quite interesting.
Well, they're talking about that there was some incentives to Karma employees saying,
yeah,
hey, just come work. Like they propositioned them. And apparently, while they were still working for Karma, they were trying to pay them directly as a. It's
they called it like a Trojan horse scheme, in which the company pretended to work with Karma on a joint venture while it was secretly planning to poach its employees and steal intellectual property.
All right. So you have an opinion on this? Do you care to offer that, or do you want to stay out of that arena?
I don't really want to get into that arena with my opinion and look, let me just say this. This is common type of activity amongst a big player in the EV world right now.
Okay, so let me ask this. You can do yes or no. Okay, You've seen this kind of behavior before as an executive, as someone that's worked in the automotive industry for a long time.
Absolutely, 100% have.
Is it similar kind of tactics and complaints, and the players even kind of are similar behavior?
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah. So not maybe the first time you've seen something like this by a long shot across the newswire. Okay.
Not at all.
How do you think this is going to shake? What do you think? How do you think when it's all said and done? What do you think it's going to end up?
Well, first of all, let me just get this off my chest. It's going to end up to the point to where we know Lordstown will not be the first electric truck out there. Will not be the first electric truck out there, okay? And I think it's going to shake down. It depends on the source of this, where it comes from, because there are certain international laws that are put in place to protect the manufacturer or the intellectual property owner, if you will.
Yeah.
But if this involves a third party that is outside of those boundaries, which is very common,
like an Asian manufacturer, like China,
like China, yeah. Then you've got a battle to fight. And
I have read and heard a lot of this comes from military or retired military ranking officials. Think like generals, that sort of thing, right? Whose job it has been for their entire, ranking career in the military to study China. And it's kind of known, like, China has certain tactics that they will use to leverage business opportunities. And the thing that I've repeatedly heard from our experts in the United States that study China, like some of these military officials that have gone on to write books about it and stuff, they say, well, the reason it's hard to beat China on a business or in that arena, even if it's international legal battles,
right,
is because the Chinese government will just change the rules.
Absolutely, they will.
It's like if we have certain manufacturing rules and guidelines, and we're not allowed to conduct business in a certain way here in the United States, or will face legal consequences, that may be true in China also, but if they see that we're in head-to-head competition, they'll just change their rules.
Right, absolutely. And let me just say this. Keith knows this. I was part of, in some manufacturing, involved in manufacturing, and, giving intellectual property so that we could source product and so we could help them produce the product for us the way we needed it produced. And I have worked in the industry and can tell you that I would have stuff come back to me and look at it and go, there's no way that they could have gotten that information. There's absolutely no way they could have gotten that information.
Well, you give them the manufacturing specs.
Correct.
And then you go to contract them to manufacture it because
right.
They have less EPA regulations and all that. Manufacturing is cheaper there. I mean, this is why even companies like Apple, Ford, all of them, like they're having components made in China Okay, well, designed by Apple in California, assembled in China, whatever, right? Like, so the problem then becomes you just gave your blueprints to this company, and this is exactly why you see. I guess it's okay to call them knockoffs. Like, you're like, hey, that's a brand that I buy all the time, and I'm on Amazon, and there's one that looks just like it.
Right.
Well, and it's some weird name that I don't recognize.
Right. A really good example of that is there is an electric vehicle that the Chinese it's not for sale yet, but it certainly caught the attention of VW. And it's an all-electric car built by the Chinese, by one of their manufacturers, that looks exactly like the Beetle. I mean, identical. Yeah. They've taken every aspect of it, so they're on VW's radar right now for that. But this is commonplace for those guys. If you look at what was just released at the Shanghai Auto Show, everything on the showroom floor that they were, there was some Tesla knockoffs. There was Porsche Taycan knockoffs. I mean, all these EVs. It just blew my mind at how much they look like all these other manufacturers.
Well, and on the smaller scale, now I'm not sure on the vehicle level, but like on like smaller components, electronics and that sort of stuff.
Or valve train components.
Sometimes it's the same factory that was making the product line for the company or, the owner, the Apple of the world. And then they're turning around and making the copy at the same factory. And they're just producing it under a different name.
What happens is typically those businesses are started by family. And they have cousins and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all this sort of stuff. And what they do is they'll go over and they'll create a whole other company under a different name while still holding all of the intellectual property with this. And they just kind of share. Change a little bit, share. And they copy it and they make it and then they go supply somewhere else. So they're kind of double dipping in the market, if you will. And it's kind of interesting, and you have to be very careful of that. And if you don't do your homework, then you can also end up with some really crappy product too. So because sometimes they don't follow the same guidelines. So
now back to the Karma v. Lordstown situation. The partnership between the two is officially canceled. It's off. They're not dating anymore.
That's right. Right.
They broke up.
Yep.
And at this point, it's just watch and see what happens in court, but they're not doing business together anymore. Now, Karma, Irvine, California, don't know where those cars are going to be produced. Lordstown actually making their trucks in Ohio.
Yeah. It says that the assembly plant is located in Moreno Valley, California.
Okay, so they're making them in California. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. They're selling vehicles via its dealer network of locations in North America, Europe, South America, and the Middle East. So they're out there.
But this is an interesting tangent. I know we got off on a little bit of a side path that doesn't directly relate to Karma and Lordstown, but
it ties in.
I feel like it was an interesting concept because this goes on not just in the automotive industry, but just in manufacturing around the world.
Yeah, so I think that the point you're trying to make is how easy of a case is it going to be for Karma's legal team to make that Lordstown actually stole this stuff? And that's the thing. Did they steal it or did they buy it from somewhere else that had their hands on it? That's the question. And when you look at who Karma is owned by, they're owned by the Wangjiang Parts Group in China. That's who they're owned by. Which,
again, back to the beginning of the segment, bought the rights to a lot of the Fisker in the bankruptcy proceedings.
Absolutely. So how do you go back to China, then you come back to the U.S.? Could that be the case? We don't know. This is merely speculation, guys. But it's going to be, I think it'll be a tough case for Karma to make unless they have like actual fingerprints on stuff and physical proof. And there are some things within the lawsuit that was revealed that does kind of point the finger directly to some racketeering going on, if you will. Yeah,
we shall see, and I think you shall see if you want to find out when this shakes loose. Stay informed. Click the bell. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you in advance, everybody, and we'll let you know.